adventurers, my name is the Bucket List Mermaid, and it is my goal to help you check off everything on your adventure bucket list and do it all as a mermaid. So today we are going to be talking about something really fun, and that is going on an Alaskan cruise, specifically an Alaskan cruise in October. I'm going to be going through everything from what I did, what I recommend, what I thought about things, and more. So stay tuned if you want to check this off of your bucket list. I ended up taking an Alaskan cruise in October with my grandparents and my mother because we really wanted to see the northern lights. Now, we unfortunately did not because it was too rainy. If you do want to hear more about that, I will link that guide in the comments below. But anyway, we still had fun. We adapt, we thrive, and we have fun no matter where we go and no matter what the weather is. Now, we started off our journey in Seattle, Washington, and we did have a few days to explore Seattle. So we, of course, had to do the Space Needle. We took a little cruise just to sightsee around the river. We went out to eat. We did have a little bit of a joke that everything that went wrong did go wrong in Seattle, so this led to us kind of thinking that Seattle was cursed. This obviously is not true, but it was actually kind of hilarious how many times we had buses break down, traffic, and just so much more. So if you are from Seattle, I respect you. I'm totally joking, but we were ready to get on the ship after a few days in Seattle just because of this. On the cruise. We're almost on the cruise. Hey, Papa, you ready for the cruise? Oh. And of course we got on the ship and we were starving, so as with the rest of the million passengers on the ship, we went to the buffet, we saw the view, and honestly, this ship was very beautiful. I'm kind of used to being on carnival ships, which are a little bit more fun and family, but this one just felt a little bit more elegant to me, a little bit more luxurious to me, so I have to give the Norwegian Encore 2 thumbs up for the luxurious ambiance. The highlights for me was definitely the triple-tiered chocolate water fountain. Oh my gosh, look at that. And then of course we had to find the best place to watch the ship disembark, which we found was in the laser tag. It wasn't operational, so we kind of just snuck in there. It was right at the back of the boat, and just look at this view over all of Seattle. We are departing Seattle and we're going to Alaska. We are officially moving. And we were officially on our way to Alaska. Here, I'll just show you a little bit of this laser tag. It was kind of cool. It was like Greek/Roman architecture with some monsters in there. I think that this would be a very good way to entertain your kids if you were into it. I always love when ships have really weird, funky amenities that you're like, huh, I would have never thought of that on a cruise ship. And I think this would be a pretty cool way to play laser tag if you ask me. Day 2 of an Alaskan cruise. It is a little rocky, but we are still having fun. I personally love it. Papa loves watching the waves, don't you, Papa? So we are having fun no matter the weather conditions. We have a day at sea today, so we are going to explore the ship. So I'm currently sitting on this chair that I found doing some anatomy for yoga, and there's a full view of the ocean, and we're just literally watching the waves pop up here and there, and it's just magical. I am in a magical place. These days at seas while we were going to Alaska honestly were so fun. They were so relaxing. It was so fun just to explore the ship. I even did this yoga class, and on the Norwegian Encore, if you do a yoga class here, they have these floor-to-ceiling windows, and it was just such a relaxing way to spend our day at sea. I must say it was a little rainy. Again, we were here in October, so this is one of the cons of going during this time, and we couldn't really escape the rain for part of our trip. We are currently stopped in Juneau and it's raining. That's okay. Look at how pretty it is. Slightly annoyed with the excursion that we picked because it doesn't have transportation to the excursion we picked, and it's an 1.5-hour bus ride. Well, not an 1.5-hour bus ride, but like an 1.5-hour wait to go a mile to this place. So we're gonna walk, but that also means we're taking a little hike in the rain. Rain's obviously falling on my head. So there was a lot to do in Juneau, and honestly, I think if you do come during the summer, there is even more, like dog sleds and all of that fun stuff. However, just because of what time we were here, there wasn't a ton to do. However, I did not mind because it kind of added this like spooky, rainy feel to Alaska, and again, it was super fun. So what we ended up doing, we ended up going on the Goldbelt Tram. If you do want more information about this, I wrote an entire review saying if it's worth the money, if you should do it, if it's a good excursion, and also some tips and tricks. One of them that I am going to mention is I would do this as early as you can. When we booked this through the ship, it was kind of like a whenever you want to go, but I didn't expect there to be a ton of queues, but there were so many queues just getting to that section. Then there was another queue to get on the tram itself. So by the time we got there and we did get our hiking in, it was a little dark and rainy. However, again, we don't let that stop our fun. We roll with the punches, and I had an absolutely incredible time, and even though it was a little rainy, it still just added to this like spooky ambiance almost. I mean, it was October, and I wasn't complaining. I watched some educational videos, I shopped around, I got a drink, and I even got to do some hiking. It was a little dark when we got to do this, but still stunning nonetheless. Views here of surrounding Juneau and the surrounding mountains are absolutely magical, and look, I even got to see the ship.
We were hiking Alaska, basically in the dark. I'm not gonna lie, I'm real happy. It's so great. Look at how pretty all this is.
And overall, although we were a little bit limited for excursions, I am very glad that I got to do the Goldbelt Tram. Again, go check out that article if you are interested in doing it. I just feel like it gave us such a good view, and it was relatively accessible from the ship. And with that, we left Juneau behind and were then headed to Skagway, so we explored more of the ship. Honestly, this was our favorite place in the entire ship. Look at all those windows. You do have to get there a little bit early. It is on the forward side of the ship, and wow, absolutely amazing place to go relaxing. Another thing that they had on the Norwegian Encore was a go-karting track. Again, I just love when cruise ships have these random things that you can do. Makes those days at sea very nice. So here is the go-karting track. Unfortunately, no one was on it, but it's still very fun to see.
We are now in Skagway. It is still raining, but that's okay. Papa, are you excited for Skagway?
And welcome to Skagway, Alaska. It is raining. What a surprise. We did end up wrapping my grandfather in a trash bag, and look at him, he's such a happy camper. He's just happy to be here. This little town was so cute. They had restaurants, they had shops, and the fall foliage mixed in with the clouds and the rain just created this amazing atmosphere here. And I know what you're saying. You're like, oh, that weather looks terrible. However, I cannot even imagine coming here during summer and having peak tourist season where you're just shoulder to shoulder with people. I would take this rain and this weather over crowds any day of the week. It is such a small town, and I was talking to all the people and they were like, oh my gosh, it gets so crowded. It's so stressful. So this is one of the perks of going in off season when it's kind of rainy. We are not the Wicked Witch of the West, and we do not melt when it rains, so we just grabbed a raincoat and just went. Now, my grandparents did end up going back to the ship, and me and my mother continued to do some hiking, and eventually she turned around and I just went and did some hiking by myself. Now this was very wet and I was not prepared. As you may have known, if you've listened to anything else, I kind of spontaneously do these hikes, which is not really great, but it's fine because I can give you all of the information. Now here was what I saw during the hike, and if you are interested in hiking and having these hikes straight from your cruise ship, I did create a hiking in Skagway guide so that you can be prepared. Unlike me, look at the shoes that I'm wearing and look at how wet it is, and I'm quite literally jumping over all of the puddles in the rivers, and at one point I just had to just cross a river and just get rid of the shoes later, honestly. So if you are down for some hiking, Skagway is your destination to go hiking. Just make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of time to do the hike and get back to your ship in one piece. I really wanted to do this longer hike, however, I did not get to because there just wasn't enough time in the day, and I kind of wanted to be there when my ship departed. However, I was very, very happy with what I did. It was beautiful, there was waterfalls, and there is no complaining from this hiking Mermaid. It was stunning.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but there's water coming from this way, water coming from this way, and water coming from that way. There's water everywhere. Wow, water! So much water! Wow! Wow! I found the lake and some water. Hi guys, we are here at Glacier Bay and the views are gorgeous. Just look at this behind me.
So as you may have heard in that really loud video, this is Glacier Bay, and we looked at going to Alaska in the summer, and funny story, a lot of them did not go to Glacier Bay, so I'm really glad that we waited so that we could go to Glacier Bay. This is a national park, and you don't get off the ship. You literally just walk around the ship, and you just see these incredible mountain views. Now, I cannot put this into words or video because the video really does not do this justice whatsoever. But what we ended up doing was we sailed through it, and then once we got to our final spot, which was right here, the ship just turned for hours, and you could just sit there and see these towering mountains over the ship. It did not look real, and I'm gonna be honest, it was probably my favorite quote-unquote destination that we went on our Alaskan cruise. They also had some commentary over the loudspeakers. You could talk to some rangers about the wildlife and about the ecological systems, and it was so educational, and it just made my nature-loving heart smile. Look at all these people just lining up to look at these gorgeous mountains and glaciers, and this is just the epitome of Alaska, and I just cannot tell you how amazing it was to be here. And what I liked about it is that it's ever changing. So I could do this in 10 years and it would be completely different. Now my tip, get to your spot early, grab a chair like even in the wee hours of the morning and stay there because these spots do fill up fast. Now for our next stop, which is Ketchikan, we decided to go kayaking in Ketchikan, and for once the weather actually let up and it was beautiful. There was no rain, the skies were blue, and the waters were calm. I did end up asking our kayak guide, and he said that normally the waters are a little bit more choppy, and we got very, very lucky. So we ended up going straight from, there's this little port right when you get into Ketchikan. We ended up taking the bus all the way over to the dock, and then we ended up taking a different ship all the way over to an island, and we kayaked over there. Now this, oh my gosh, was absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, my grandfather couldn't make it because it is not wheelchair accessible. However, it just felt like we were in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't really anybody. It was like we were just kayaking these deserted islands, and it was just beautiful. And since the waters were very clear, it was like we were paddling through glass. I don't know if you can see it, but there was just no waves. It was very easy. We were in a tandem kayak, my mom and I, and we just had the best time ever. We saw these starfishes on the rocks. We looked over all these forests. We saw seals. I even grabbed my camera. I had my camera during this entire time. It was actually kind of stressful, but I snapped a picture of some bald eagles while I was in the kayak, some birds. So we really got to see a lot of wildlife on this tour. And again, it was just so calm, so peaceful, and just the perfect way to adventure Ketchikan. This was probably my favorite excursion that we did, that we actually paid for through the ship, other than like the hiking just on our own. And if you love a physical challenge and you do love kind of getting off the grid, I would recommend it. And our last stop was Victoria, Canada. Now the only thing I have to say about this was it kind of felt a little rushed. We were not there for a while and we were there at night. So it was very nice to get to go out. However, I wouldn't expect to take these long, extravagant excursions because you're not gonna have a lot of time, but I will take what I can get in Canada. And then finally, we ended up going back to Seattle. Our cruise was over. We did a couple more of those touristy Seattle things like this glass art exhibition, which I would 100% recommend because wow, it is absolutely beautiful. And then to finish off our trip with the cherry on top, I had to take my tail to the top of the Space Needle. I got so many looks, so many photos, and it was a blast. Thank you guys so much for watching this Alaskan cruise, and I want to hear what you would do. Would you take this in October? Would you rather go in summer? Would you rather not go at all? You're like, hey, no, I'd rather just go to the Caribbean, or nah, I'm a nature lover and Alaska is on my bucket list. I want to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that you guys get out to Alaska. Tell me how it went in the comments. Go over to thebucketlistmermaid.com because I am all about cheering you on while you conquer your adventure bucket list. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing, and we will see you next time.